It's that time of year again, my friends. The Game Awards. The holiday that's right next to Tax Day on everyone's list of favorite days. It's a time to celebrate or mourn another year of gaming, and looking back at 2025, well, what a year. And by that I mean I can't think of a worse year in recent memory for gaming than 2025. Now, I'm incredibly cheap, so I'm not one to really play games right when they come out, but usually there's at least 2 or 3 big games that get me to bite. In 2025, I've bought a total of 1 game that came out this year. 1. And you'll have to wait and see what it is. It did get nominated for an award though. See, I have good taste, my man Jeff says so. But I don't think the industry is in a very good place right now, and I think the Game of the Year nominees kind of back up my thesis. These seem kinda meh, like it was a nothing burger of a year. I'm sure these games were at least good, but none of them scream giant achievement for the industry like previous winners have. But before we get to that, let's review this year in gaming, and I guess we should start with Sony and their win way back at last year's Game Awards. 2024's Game of the Year was Astro Bot, and after completing this game a few weeks ago, I can't say I disagree with the choice. It's a phenomenal time from start to finish, and yes, I say this as a huge Nintendo fan, it's just as good as the Galaxy games, there's no question. The Frog Arms seal the deal on this, and it's the best PS5 exclusive in my view. I'll review it more in depth in an upcoming video, but I wanted to mention it here still because the game is the perfect jumping off point for what I wanted to talk about with Sony. Because though the game itself is great, I couldn't really help but feel a little sad, especially when I played its happiest and most loco level. I'm hardly the first to point this out, but Astro Bot feels less like a celebration of Sony's history and more like a graveyard of it. When you play something like Smash Bros, you know 90% of these franchises are likely to get another game someday, except you guys. But when you play Astro Bot, that is not the case. These are deader than dead. Sony is not reviving Loco Roco anytime soon. I mean, I would gamble that Ice Climber is more likely to get another game at this point than something like Jak and Daxter. Case in point, this year Sony released only 1 PS5 exclusive. 1. That is abysmal. And it doesn't give them much room to do experimental or niche games if this is their level of output. And this isn't new to this year, this has pretty much been the story of the PS5. It's gonna take them years to fix Jim Ryan's brilliant idea to go all in on live service games, and then go all in on canceling them. But not before spending sums of cash that surpass the GDP of certain nations. But that said, one interesting thing did indeed happen with PlayStation IP this year, and it occurred in the most unlikely of places. A March Nintendo Direct. In the most unlikely turn of events, 2025 saw the return of Sony's Patapon franchise from the PSP with Patapon 1 and 2 Replay. However, it was published by Bandai Namco, not Sony, and it released on PS5 and Nintendo Switch, with only the Switch version being released physically as of now. But that wasn't the only Sony franchise Bandai Namco worked with this year. They also developed a brand new Everybody's Golf game, which again released on PS5 and Switch. I mean, I guess this really is Everybody's Golf. Now don't get me wrong, a third-party publisher releasing some Sony-developed games is actually not unprecedented. Ape Escape 2 was published by Ubisoft in North America for some reason. The same thing happened with one of the spin-offs, Pumped and Primed, but it's still not very common. What is unprecedented so far as I'm aware is a Sony IP having a new game published and developed by a third party, and then on top of that put on a rival platform like Hot Shots Golf was. And I have very mixed feelings about this. See, on one hand, I'm happy these franchises are back. If the only other option was death, then this is obviously preferable. But it also shows that Sony doesn't really care about these franchises if they can't be bothered to publish them themselves, and they also must not see a lot of value in them as potential exclusives. Now, both of these franchises seem more Japanese-oriented, and PlayStation has famously pivoted to the West as of late, but I don't think this pivot was a very good decision. I mean, look, they have like next to nothing to show for it. Literally, one is next to nothing. I think there was a lot of hope after Astro Bot that Sony might course correct a little, but if this is any sign, that doesn't seem to have really happened yet. That or these deals were just agreed upon before that, who knows. I mean, we do have that weird Japanese-style Marvel fighting game that looks cool, so there's hope. But speculation about the future aside, my grade of PlayStation this year? F. I don't care about Ghost of Yotei, so yeah, F. Speaking of failure, let's talk about Xbox now. Well, at least that's what I was gonna say, and then I looked at their lineup for this year. Indiana Jones, Doom, Oblivion Remaster, Ninja Gaiden 4, Outer Worlds 2. Honestly, this is a pretty major improvement for Xbox games this year. Obviously, most of these were from studios they bought in the last decade, but hey, they're still officially Xbox games, so they count in my book. But the issue, if you want to call it that, is that none of them are exclusive to Xbox. Like, take Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. From the name, you may think this is an edutainment game for toddlers, but it's actually a video game for PS5. Why? Xbox doesn't really seem to want to be its own thing anymore. The This Is an Xbox campaign has been in full swing this year, and to be honest, I don't think it's a very good idea at all. This is an Xbox, my computer is an Xbox, my phone is an Xbox, my PS5 is an Xbox, my refrigerator is an Xbox, my toaster is an Xbox, my other refrigerator is an Xbox. No, really, my Samsung Smart Fridge is actually an Xbox, that one's real. Lego is an Xbox, I'm an Xbox, you are an Xbox, and when everyone's an Xbox...
No one will be.
Don't get me wrong, I'm happy gamers on other platforms get to experience these games, but it's really starting to feel like the beginning of the end for Xbox as a console brand. And if Xbox goes, Sony really doesn't have any competition anymore, which is not good because they're already not competing much with Nintendo. So for Xbox this year, D+. If it were just the games, it'd be a C or a B, but I'm sorry, I just hate their stupid business model. That leaves Nintendo. Nintendo, the game publisher I love and hate the most. And this year I really leaned into the hate side of things. I was so excited for Switch 2. I feel like Switch 1 probably had the strongest game lineup of any Nintendo console. So the Switch 2 had a lot riding on it to maintain this momentum, and I really don't think they did that successfully. For starters, at least with its hardcore fan base, Nintendo really blew it with the launch of Switch 2. The console specs and the price, I think, were pretty much what everyone was expecting. Maybe some were hoping for $399, but I don't think $450 would have been that hard to swallow. What was hard to swallow, though, was $80 for Mario Kart World. I'm sorry, but no. Absolutely not. That is unacceptable. $70 was hard enough to stomach, but $80? That's out of line. Video games have not done enough in the last 5 years to warrant going up to $80 as a standard price. You can tell it's been a while since Nintendo's made a Dr. Mario game because they're clearly off their meds again. Then you got the game keycard thing, which no matter how hard Nintendo fanboys try to defend, this crap is also unacceptable. Give me the game on a cart. I don't care if different cart sizes aren't available, Nintendo should make them available. If SanDisk can do it, Mario can too. They're literally the ones responsible for manufacturing both the carts and the console that reads the carts. How is this an excuse? Sorry I couldn't come into work today, I wasn't wearing any pants. Well, you can't expect a man to come into work without any pants, the fanboys reply. Come on, Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 needs to be on a game keycard. Is Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 100 gigs or something?
It allows us to have 16 times the detail.
Inexcusable. Contrary to what is seemingly popular belief on Twitter, the vast majority of PS5 games are playable straight from the disc, so Nintendo literally has no excuse. Then you had the whole thing recently with the new Pokemon game coming out on the game keycard. Every Nintendo stan came out to defend the honor of the company that charged $10 extra for Funky Kong by saying Nintendo didn't technically officially lie. Sure, they said none of their Nintendo-developed games would be on game keycard, but Pokemon isn't first party, because they don't own the Pokemon company and they also don't own Koei Tecmo, who actually developed it. Never mind that even if they didn't officially technically lie, this is still incredibly scummy, and it's stupid to pretend like Nintendo's hands were tied with how a Pokemon game gets released. Get real. I couldn't put my pants on, I don't make those kind of decisions. And furthermore, I can think of another certain IP that has fully independent developers that Nintendo doesn't own. So by their defender's line of thinking, it wouldn't be a problem at all if this game was on Game Keycard too. The best way to sum up how I feel about Nintendo as of late is with yet another Incredibles scene. Nintendo, I'm a fan. I can prove it too. I paid $6 to have this Pikmin towel shipped to my house that I bought with my platinum doubloons for being in your fan club or whatever this thing is. Why are you doing this to me? Nintendo and I aren't really on speaking terms, and by that I mean I don't own a Switch 2 because I have no reason to. I'm not paying this kind of money for first-party games, and I'm not paying any money for third-party games that I don't even get to own. So I guess Nintendo just isn't for me anymore. Maybe my sentiments will change next year because Tomodachi Life 2 is coming out, and releasing that is the equivalent of buying your wife chocolate to apologize for spending this month's heating bill on Mario Kart World. So we'll have to see. As for ranking them, to be fair, they did put out the most games that interest me this year, but if they're not going to treat me fairly, why should I treat them fairly? So this year in summary, Nintendo lowering the bar and raising the price. F-. So somehow, Xbox wins the year for me, not because they did anything good, but simply because they irritated me the least. Congrats to Xbox. So as you can tell by my review of the big three this year, I'm ecstatic about celebrating 2025 in gaming with Jeff Keighley. But so I at least have something interesting to say for these categories. In addition to guessing what Jeff is going to choose as his winner, as per tradition, I'm also going to hand out awards to the games I actually played this year, regardless of release date. And I'll reveal the one 2025 game that got me to bite. So let's get started.
Best performance.
For Jeff, I'm gonna guess Charlie Cox, because I liked him in Daredevil. For me this year, I gotta go with Michael Chiklis. Before the new movie came out, I played the 2005 Fantastic Four game, and I was reminded just how synonymous Chiklis' voice has become for me with the character of The Thing. Whenever I see The Thing, this guy's voice is what immediately pops into my mind. He really nailed the role. So 20 years later, I'm giving him a Hydrated Game Award for his efforts, because he even gave it his all for the mediocre movie tie-in game. That's dedication.
Best ongoing game.
Fortnite. I know it's generic and people love to hate on it, but I actually had a lot of fun playing OG Fortnite with my friends when it first came back out. And then they kept updating it past the point where I had to quit playing it the first time around when there were 10-year-olds using jetpacks and doing these crazy maneuvers, and I'm just like, I don't have all day to learn about how to do this anymore. I have to work to buy Donkey Kong Bonanza, I mean pay the heating bill.
Best mobile game.
Sonic Rumble, because when they read the nominees out loud, that was the only one that I could remember. For me, World Conqueror 2 is probably my most played mobile game ever. I played it on and off for like 10 years now at this point. I really love World War II stuff, and this game lets me live out my fantasy of destroying communism with the military might of Belgium. I recommend it if you like strategy games. It's pretty addicting, and it's nice to have on your phone.
Best art direction.
Hollow Knight, because I don't think it wins Game of the Year and it needs to win something here. However, I was blown away this year by just how well done the Epic Mickey remaster was. This game is gorgeous, and it controls so much better than I remember. This was a remake done right, and I can't wait to talk about it more in a future video.
Best scoring music.
Hades 2, it needs to win something. I'm gonna give it to Epic Mickey again though, because my daughter likes to dance to the projector themes and it's adorable to watch.
Best audio design.
Silent Hill F. Time for Jeff and Konami to let bygones be bygones. But for me, it's gotta be Ghosts and Goblins.
Best adaptation.
I'll choose The Last of Us because it's The Last of Us, but this year, me personally, I'm going with The Mud Skipper.
Best narrative.
Claire Obscura probably takes it. And again, I'm gonna give it to Epic Mickey. I still love this game's story. I can't wait to talk about it.
Best community support.
Baldur's Gate 3 maybe? But I gotta go with the Little Tikes shopping cart that my parents bought my daughter for her birthday. What's fun about this is that in order to attach the basket to the cart, you had to screw in 4 screws. No big deal, right? But in a genius move, they actually decided the place that you attach it shouldn't have any screw holes, so you just have to brute force it straight through solid plastic using all your strength. What's even more fun is that due to the angle, you actually can't use a drill driver cheat code either. You have to do it all by hand. So it took me about 2 hours and a severely cramped wrist to attach 4 screws to a plastic shopping cart. When I went to the official YouTube video from Little Tikes to show how to put this stupid thing together, which I did because I was positive I was making some sort of mistake, I noticed the comments were suspiciously turned off. So I knew then and there that I had in fact been doing it correctly. Excellent community support, thank you.
Games for impact.
I'll guess Wanderstop. This title looked like something that belonged on like Tumblr, which seems like the vibe this category is going for. What do I pick? My Drywall, because it needed the brace for impact from that stupid shopping cart.
Best multiplayer.
Split Fiction, because this looked like critic bait a little, so it's gotta win something. But for me, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo is amazing. It's one of Mrs. H's favorite games up there with Super Bust-A-Move. This is the game that made me pick up that crappy PlayStation Classic when it came out way back when, which I don't regret doing because of the amount of time we played this. Now I got it on Capcom Fighting Collection 1 on PS5, so I don't have to get all these hookups back out again whenever we want to play. And I'm pleased to say it still holds up as a great game.
Best indie game.
Claire Obscura wins, I'm guessing. I mean, it's one of 3 because these are the ones up for Game of the Year. For me, Mega Cat Studios worked on the re-release of the OG Backyard Baseball, and I could not be more thankful. I'm not a big sports guy, but these games still hold a special place in my heart. I mean, I played this before I could even read.
And best debut indie game.
Same reasoning as before. This one's kind of year specific, and since I only bought one 2025 game, and it wasn't an indie game, I actually don't have one. I just love AAA so much, why would I support indies?
Best VR AR game.
Midnight Walk. Again, it was read out loud last and the rest were forgettable names. For me, I'm gonna go with Captain Morgan. It gives me the same 2 reactions as VR does.
Content creator of the year.
I gotta give it to the Burnt Peanut. This looks like a guy I'd enjoy watching. And this year I watched a lot of Let's Game It Out. I love how he invents new and exciting ways to torture people at zoos and theme parks. I wish I could find a way to make videos on these kind of games interesting like he does. I'd love to play them more.
Most anticipated game.
It's GTA 6. But for me, it's Tomodachi Life 2, like I said.
Best action adventure game.
Hollow Knight's Silk Song probably takes it. But for me, Nicktoons Attack of the Toybots is the definition of action and adventure. Next question.
Best role-playing game.
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. However, I'm gonna go with We Fit You, because at long last I can roleplay my dreams of dumping food on the ungrateful public.
Best fighting game.
Capcom Fighting Collection 2, because this was the only 2025 game I bought. We've arrived at it at last. The only 2025 game I bought is a collection of games that came out when I was like 4. Cheers to 2025.
Best action game.
I'm gonna guess Doom. Xbox needs a win. As for me, The Bachelor on Wii. I mean, look at that action.
Innovation and accessibility.
EA Sports, because being in the game makes things very accessible. As for me, the Little Tikes shopping cart wins again. That was some innovation and accessibility right there.
Best family game.
Jeff picks Donkey Kong Bonanza probably, but it's gotta be Family Feud 2010 edition. Come on, family is in the name.
Best strategy sim game.
Final Fantasy probably wins. I know anime fans love that series. As for me, it was great playing SimCity 4 again. I really miss driving school buses into passenger trains.
Best sports racing game.
Mario Kart World. I mean, come on, it's an $80 value. Just go grab a blanket. For me, though, Pablo Sanchez sweeps again.
Best esports game.
Counter-Strike streamers are usually pretty fun. The only esports game I really play is Smash, and I hate the DLC characters so much that I'm not even gonna give it a default win, so pass.
Best esports athlete.
I gotta go with Menard. He's saved me big money over the years.
Best esports team. Best game direction.
I think Death Stranding 2 wins because it needs to win something. As for my pick, like I said earlier, Astrobot. I really need Sony to lean back into these fun games instead of whatever this bald lady type game is.
Game of the year.
I think Claire Obscure Expedition 33 wins. Besides Donkey Kong, which I don't think they're gonna give it to, this is the only one that I've even heard about. Well, besides Hollow Knight, but I don't think that's gonna win either. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like my kind of game, so I can't say much more about it. But what I can talk about is my game of the year, and that game is LEGO Marvel Superheroes. Go watch my video on it. It's the best LEGO game, it's probably the best Marvel game, it's got all the characters you could want. I mean, come on, you can be Aunt May. Remember that time she blew up?
Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us.
The story is fun, the gameplay is fun. It's an all-around excellent package that's aged like fine wine. It's pretty much the perfect game to play with younger kids. Back in 2013 when it came out, it lost Game of the Year to some random game no one cares about anymore. So I'm doing it justice 12 years later. Congratulations, LEGO Marvel Superheroes, you're the best game I've played this year. Between this game and Astrobot, I'm ready for my Hank Pym Ant-Man game whenever anyone's ready to give it to me. Yes, I'm the only one asking for this, but someone should do it anyways. And this brings us to the end. All in all, the Game Awards 2025 is looking to be extremely underwhelming. But in a rapidly changing world where every day seems crazier than the last, sometimes consistency is nice. But I don't like how much of a downer this video has been, so I want to shout out some good things that have been going on that I don't feel like are talked about as much. First off, we gotta talk about how Konami has been doing some pretty good stuff lately. You got the Silent Hill 2 and Metal Gear 3 remakes, and the Castlevania collections that have been coming out are awesome. Honoring their legacy is a definite improvement to what they'd been doing, and this year they even made a new Silent Hill game that reviewed pretty well. This is fantastic news, and hopefully they continue this trend. In other positive news from 2025, one of the most important pieces of gaming history was restored after years of not being easily accessible with the return of Sims 1 and 2. I didn't see this get highlighted very much, but the fact that you had to basically split the atom on your PC to be able to play these absolutely landmark titles is a travesty. So good on EA for finally bringing them back. Not only that, but My Sims also got a re-release. I loved My Sims. I wish I would have waited a few more months before I made my video so I could have reviewed this version. And maybe been a little bit better at making videos too. Either way, I'm excited to replay it on PS5 so I can achievement hunt it. So EA and Konami each get a B, which hey, for them, that's a pretty good grade. I hope they can continue to put in the work. Could we see future A students? Crazier things have happened. We already talked about the good work Namco's been doing trying to resuscitate dead Sony franchises, and they also remade Pac-Man World 2 and created a brand new Katamari game, which is always welcome. A+ for you, Bandai Namco. And lastly, my company of the year, Capcom. Capcom really seems to me to be the unsung success story of the last decade. I remember when people were thinking they were going to be bought out because of how bad they were struggling, but they've really turned the ship around. Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, and Street Fighter seem to have all pleased fans, I think. And the collections they've been doing are just outstanding. I mean, more and more of Mega Man's games are being brought to modern consoles, which I am totally here for. If they do a Legends collection, I will buy that so fast. Also, I hope they do some type of other collection with the Misfits, like the Game Boy games, arcade games, Mega Man and Bass, and of course, Mega Man Soccer. Phoenix Wright got all of his games re-released, and Marvel vs. Capcom is out of the Phantom Zone. I mean, all these fighting game collections are great. Of all the companies out there, it seems like I'm buying more Capcom games than anything else at the moment, and I hope they keep up this trend of offering amazing games at even more amazing prices. A+ for the direction Capcom has been going. Oh, I forgot about Sega. Well, Sega put SpongeBob in the Sonic Kart Racer, so that's an A. Good job, Sega. And that's about all I have to say. Unfortunately, I feel like I just didn't care about any of these games up for awards this year. Wonder if that's just a personal preference or if others will feel the same way. I guess the discourse and the run-up and aftermath of the show will answer my question. If things are civil, well then we know it was a bad year for gaming. So we'll have to wait and see. And maybe some new exciting games will be announced at the show, who knows? We're still waiting on that AAA Crazy Taxi game from Sega after all. Maybe it'll be there. But until that day comes, this has been Hydrated Gaming. I'll see you at the show, and stay hydrated, my friends.